Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to the channel, or welcome back to the channel if you've been here before. So today I'm going to do another tutorial. This is how to make like a thaiboy digital, or kind of like futuristic ripsquadd type of beat. I've been listening to thaiboy digital a lot recently, especially the song True Love by thaiboy digital featuring Young Lean. It's a fire ass song. I really recommend checking it out if you haven't heard it. And yeah, this beat, I will admit, is pretty much a knockoff of that one, but you know, maybe we can learn something by breaking it down. So yeah, I will play a little bit of the beat, I guess, to show what I'm going to be breaking down. And then, yeah, let's get into it. So here's some of the beat.
Okay, so if you don't care or if you don't agree with me, I don't give a fuck, as you know.
Yeah, so that's the second half of the beat is pretty similar. Sorry if there were any like CPU glitches or anything. With recording this, my CPU's going a little higher than it usually does. But yeah, so I guess I will start with the melody. For this beat, I mostly used Serum. I almost exclusively used Serum. For these kinds of like futuristic type beats, that's pretty much the synth you want to use. But yeah, let's just go element by element, I guess. Yeah, there's not really like a part where all the melodies play. But yeah, I guess I'll start with what I started with, which was these main chords right here. And I'm gonna turn off the effects on the pre-master just so that everything works okay. I'll delete these to save some CPU. But yeah, so this is the first pattern. It's a patch in Serum. It's synth dice roll from the Vitals Serum bank, and I don't think I edited it in Serum really at all. It's a pretty clean sound already, really good bank. And yeah, I just started by laying down these chords here. Nothing too crazy. I basically, I copied the rhythm from True Love by thaiboy digital almost exactly, and here's what it sounds like. Yeah, so it's really just a 4-bar progression, pretty simple progression. And for mixing, I have just an EQ, and then I automated this on a bunch of different elements when I wanted to cut them all out. There's not really like a super easy way to do that in FL Studio that I'm aware of that isn't just routing all these things to like one bus, but I don't really want to do that because, I don't know, it seems like needlessly complicated to route things for a bus just to do to a bus just to do one effect on them, so I didn't. And then I also routed this to another channel, and I put this reverb on it, and I put this EQ, and then I have Duck doing some subtle like side chaining, and that just plays in the background. It's just to give it a little more movement. I'll play it so only that is what you can hear, but it's very subtle. Yeah, it's pretty much just that. Route this back to the melody bus. Yeah, and then the next pattern that I had is it's the same chords, same MIDI, but a different serum patch. It's Pad Micro, also from Vinexi Vital Serum Bank. This one I think I did edit. I took out some, or maybe I didn't even edit it after all. But yeah, same MIDI. It sounds like this. Yeah, it's a nice layer. And then for mixing on that, I have OTT. I changed these a little bit, turned the downward compression all the way down, turned the depth down. Then I have an EQ going like that, and same for the mute. And yeah, so that's like another thing just to make the pad or the chords a little spacier. Yeah, and I guess I'll play them together so you can hear how they sound together. Oops, there. Yeah. So then the next thing I did was I added an instance of Silent 1. The preset I used was, and then I don't even, it's from Accelerate Makina presets for Silent. I think it's free. It's might be kind of hard to find, but I'm pretty sure it's free. And it originally had like a bunch of voices, but I only wanted like one saw wave as the voice. And yeah, this is the MIDI for that lead. I'll play it. Yeah, it just kind of complements the chords. And then for mixing, I have a manipulator adding some stereo, and I turn the mix down on that. And then I have an EQ. I have an OTT with these settings tweaked a little bit and the low turned down. Then I have an EQ cutting, harsh frequency, boosting the frequency I liked, and final EQ just cleaning up the mud in the low end and taming some of the really harsh high end. Without the mixer effects, sounds like this. And with them, it sounds like this. Yeah, it's just a little more interesting with that stuff on it. Yeah, and so then the next thing I added is this is where I was most blatantly copying True Love by Thaiboy. This is just a sine wave from Serum. It's just like, and I have the mono and legato on, but it's yeah, it's literally just a sine wave. It's like the most simple sound you could probably make in Serum or almost any synthesizer. This is the MIDI. It sounds like this. Yeah, and that just repeats like a 2-bar pattern, and I just have like an EQ like cutting out some really low lows and taming some of the clicks in the highs, but yeah, that's really it. And then for other sections, I think yeah, it's the same melody, it's just pitched up an octave. But yeah, so that's that. There's like no delay, no anything. It's very simple. But yeah, so then the next instrument I have is I guess I'll do this one. This is a pluck sort of sound that I did. It's called Keys Some Mind from Plume Volume 1. Yeah, I don't use that bank that often, but I guess it's cool. And yeah, the MIDI for it is this, and here's how it sounds. Yeah, and I pitched this one up and down octaves at different points in the beat so that it wouldn't clash with the sine lead, because even though this has like a square saw, it sounds a lot like a sine wave, and it clashes with the other one. And for mixing on this one, I have another manipulator doing some stereo and some detuning to make it a little wider and turn the mix down. It's pretty subtle. I've got an EQ, cutting and boosting kind of aggressively. I've got some delay on it, very simple, like a ping pong fourth note delay. I've got this gross beat, so these are reversed, and then I have the volume fade in when it reverses. Got another EQ cutting out the lows and the clicks caused by the gross beat. Got another gross beat on a very low mix, just adding some like a little like twinkle shine to the pattern, and then that fruity mute too for when I wanted to cut it out. So without the mixing, it sounds like this. Yeah, it sounds alright, but it's like a more ambient sound this way, I guess. But yeah, and then I've got what the hell? That's not supposed to be there. I think that is, yeah, it's almost it for the melodies. I've got this one here that I add in certain sections. This is also pretty simple. It's a super square lead, so sounds like that. It's from Shinju Serum Bank originally, I think, but yeah, I mean, I know it's from Shinju Serum Bank initially. I turned off the delay and the reverb. It's got really like exaggerated delay and reverb that I didn't really want, and this is the pattern for that. And then for mixing on that one, I have a flanger. Oops, where'd it go? Yeah, there. Okay, I have a flanger with the mix turned down. Got that fruity mute too that I've used on a few elements, and then I've got this EQ, and I've got a duck doing, some more like subtle pumping stuff. Without the effects, it sounds like this. With them, it sounds like this. It's just a little more fun, I think. Especially because it's like a secondary, it's like a background lead. So yeah, I just think that's a little nicer. Then I've got this brass pattern that I add in certain sections as well. Very, very simple, just like a classic brass sound. This is the pattern. Sounds like this. Yeah, it sounds a little weird without the drums, but I promise it works. And then I EQ'd it, and then without the EQ, it sounds like that. So the EQ just cleans it up a little bit, pushes it into the background, which is what I wanted. Then I have these textural sounds that I made by, man, I don't even really remember how I made these. I think I had a pad playing like a note or two notes, and then I like ran it through Portal and Manipulator and pitched it up and down and stretched it a bunch of times. But I've got like basically like two sections for this. This is the first one. It sounds like this. Yeah, and I'd like mixed it so much before it was in this form that I just did not do anything to it in the mixer by that point. Then I have like another section, another kind of like textural sound. It's from the same like original, or not original, but it's from the same sample where that I made to get the other one. But I took like I think I took like a tail of the reverb or something and like chopped it up and reversed it as well, and it sounds like this. And I've got, yeah, this gross beat on it, but Yeah, those are they're very faint in the background. They're pretty quiet, so they just like add some color uh, and stuff to the beat. But yeah, so next I'll do the drums. Drums pretty simple for this one. I kept it quite simple. Um, yeah, I'll start with the 808, I guess. For the 808, I used this Spins 808, and I processed it. I put some distortion on, some EQ, some chorus, another EQ, and this is just for sidechaining it to the kick. Here's the pattern. It sounds like this. I guess these slide notes didn't really end up doing anything, but hey, whatever, man. It's all good. It's all love. Yeah. Then I've got this kick, which I edited. It was from some drum kit. It was like an already edited version of this this classic kick. You guys probably all have it. But the one in the drum kit I had was a little cleaner, and then I edited it some more. I like cut the tail off, like the sub tail, and it's a very simple pattern. It sounds like this. I guess one thing I did that's unusual is I don't have a kick hitting on the 3, like the start of the second, like 2-bar section of the 8 bars. Sometimes I just like to take that one out to add a little more unusual bounce. It's not that crazy, but sometimes it sounds good. And for mixing for that, I have an EQ, and I have duck. This isn't doing anything, is just so I could see the waveform, so I'll delete it. Without the EQ, it would sound like this, and with it, it sounds like this. So it's just like, it's like a little thumpier that way. And yeah, that's pretty much that. Then I've got this clap, most basic ass clap ever. You guys know what this pattern sounds like. I don't need to play it. I didn't do anything in the mixer. That was the easiest part of the beat, probably. Next, I've got these hi-hats. I used this hi-hat made by my good friend Evola. He's awesome. You guys should check him out. He sent me this hi-hat sample. It's super clean. And yeah, here's what the pattern sounds like. Yeah, I didn't really do anything crazy. I wanted to keep the hi-hats like relatively simple for this beat, just because I think I didn't want them to clutter everything up. For the mixing, I just some EQ. Without it, it sounds like this. Just makes it a little bit brighter, which I felt fit the beat pretty well. Then I've got this rim perk here. Sounds like that. Here's the pattern. Same thing for 4 bars. For mixing, I didn't do anything to that. I didn't think I did, and I didn't. Yeah, then I've got a crash. Sounds like this. And as you can see, I turned the envelope on for the crash because I wanted to, well, you'll see. I wanted it to cut out at some point. Crash sounds like this. It's more or less lined up with the kick. Put an EQ on it. Without the EQ, it sounds like this. So yeah, EQ just made it a little brighter, left more space for other elements. Then I've got this snare. This is a snare I made that I've been using a lot recently. I will probably put it in the next drum kit I make, but that one's not done yet, so just, yeah, hold tight if you really want the snare. Here's what the pattern, I have actually two patterns for this one. Here's what the first one sounds like. And then the second one I can find elsewhere in the beat. It's almost identical to the first one, but it's a little different. Like at the end here, I'll just play like up to this part. Did some panning, a little bit of a faster stutter, and for mixing on that I have some EQ. Without the EQ it would sound like this. Yeah, it doesn't do much, but I think it helps fit in the beat a little more. Yeah, so then next I have this open hat. This is the sample. I also put on the envelope for this one because I didn't want it to play out all the way. Sounds like that. Yeah, ordinarily it sounds like that, but I scooched it forward so it would be like a more on beat hitting open hat, and I turned the out knob up a little bit. Yeah, it's not a big difference. And so here's this pattern, pretty basic pattern. Yeah, and then the other pattern that I did for this sounds like the open hat pattern sounds like this. It's also pretty simple, but it you know, it's just a little bit faster. Then I have this crowd chant. I edited it to be a little cleaner. This will also be in my next drum kit. The pattern sounds like this. For mixing on that, I just have an EQ. Without the EQ, it sounds like this. So just made it a little bit brighter. Yeah, that's pretty much all there is to say about that. Then I've got, for certain sections, I've got this triangle playing. It sounds like this. Triangle is the same one I pretty much always use. It's this. For mixing, I EQ'd it a tiny bit and I added a compressor to it, just so that, you know, it wouldn't be, it wouldn't be quite as like, wouldn't have quite as sharp a transient because it was very loud without compressing it, and I didn't really want that. And then I also have, like after 4 bars in certain sections, I have this chant that I made. For that one I have EQ and delay, very simple delay. Without the effects it sounds like this. Oops, sounds like this. Oh my god, I'm sorry y'all. Whatever, it sounds like that without the effects. And with the effects it sounds like that. But yeah, so those are pretty much, those are in fact all the drums. I'll play, I mean, I always do this thing where I cut the patterns up a little bit, but I'll play like 16 bars of the drums all together so you can kind of hear what they sound like in context with each other. Sounds like this. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And then I guess I'll play the melodies all together too, just so you guys can hear how they sound in context with each other. This isn't like all the melodies, but it's most of them. Yeah, so that's pretty much the melodies. Then I have some effects, actually a lot of effects. I've got this classic pitch tick effect right here. I kind of chopped it up so it would hit better with the beat, and then I've got the pitch tick that I made, which I use all the time. Then I've got this whoosh effect, which I use all the time. Sounds like that. For editing, I don't think I did anything to this, although this one, I think I did added a compressor to it as well, just because it was very loud otherwise. And for the whoosh effect, I just cut out some of the sub so it wouldn't clash too hard with the bass and the kick. You want, with these kind of samples, it's not always bad to have it clash with the kick a little bit, if that makes sense. Like it will often like make the beat clip a little bit more, but that's kind of what you want. Like that's kind of the point of using these kind of effects. But you don't want to go overboard with that. You don't want to get too crazy with it. So then I also have this like, I had like a white noise impact that I reversed and turned into a riser. It's pretty long, but I'll play it anyway. Sounds like that. For mixing, I just have an EQ taming the highs and cutting out the lows so that it wouldn't click annoyingly. I really like this. I really like this effect. I like the way it pans. But yeah, then I've got my tag in the beginning. I've got X models tag, one of our mini tags, and I have these chimes. And I stretched them out a little bit. Then I've got, in the very beginning, I've got this like this car engine ambient sample that I like to use a lot. It sounds like this. Yeah, and it doesn't play out all the way in the beat. But yeah, so those are the effects. I've also got, the classic. And most of those effects, other than I think what I showed you, I didn't put any effects on them at all. I just didn't think they needed it. But yeah, all the Lucas classics, Oh, and I've also got for the bridge and the intro and the outro, I have another bass playing. It's this pattern, looks like this. It's not gonna sound this way in the beat. Because it only plays during sections when I have all the stuff on here on, but this is the pattern. It sounds like this unprocessed. So yeah, it's like the same as the 808s, and the preset I used for that is from Surge. Saw lo-fi bass. It's a pretty good preset, and yeah, no effects other than like the ones on the pre-master. But yeah, so then I guess I'll go into the, I already mentioned I used Fruity Mute 2 on several of the melodies so that they would cut out, and that's pretty much seems to be the simplest way to do that. Yeah, it's probably someone probably knows a better way to do that than me, and if you do, please say so in the comments, because I'd like to know another way to do this. But yeah, so I've got that. I've got then for the intro, I've got a love filter. I've got two love filters. One of them is low pass 2 is the preset, and I automated the cutoff on the second filter unit so that it would kind of swell in. Then I've got a phaser preset, which I also use all the time. And then I had this EQ, which I used as like a high pass filter in the very beginning because the bass was really loud otherwise, and I didn't want it to be that way so much in the beginning. And I automate the filter cutoff frequency and the mix of the filters throughout the beat. Then I've got gross beat. I automate the position slot. So one of them is this tape stop. One of them is this other sort of like reverse tape stop effect that I like to use. And those don't play that much. They only play in a few times in the beat. And yeah, that's the effects and the automations. For arrangement, yeah, I started with that bass and some of the melodies playing, and then I took some elements out. Then I, built the energy back up, I guess. And the drum patterns just kind of alternate, and I cut them up where I thought they would sound good. But yeah, that's pretty much the beat. I'll also show what I did for mastering. So as usual, got a high and low cut, 30 hertz and 18,000 hertz, because you can't really hear anything above this or below this. In some beats where the bass goes to really low notes, you might want to cut only at 20 or at like 25 or something, but for this one, 30 sounded good, and you mostly can't hear that stuff anyway. I didn't use this OTT, so I'll delete it. Then I have an adjustment EQ, cutting some frequencies. I don't like boosting the high, boosting the sub. Boosting around here, which is like, it's about where the clap hits, so it sounds good when you boost it. Then I've got some gain going into the TR5 T-Rex Classic Clipper. Same preset as usual. I'll get rid of this. This is not useful for anything. Yeah, and I think I might have said this in another video, but when you have especially when you have a kick or a really loud bass in a beat, you should play with the slope or like the threshold of your soft clipper. This is basically just a soft clipper. In fact, it is just a soft clipper, but it has slightly more features than the stock one, but works in mainly the same way. But so you always want to, because the kick is the thing that will probably clip the most and whose character will be changed the most by the clipping, like the distortion that clipping causes is going to usually be in these kinds of beats most audible on the kick. Like you're going to have different results with different thresholds for the kick drum. I mean for the threshold of the soft clipper. So I guess I'll demonstrate that. Let me go to a section with where the kick's playing. I'll solo that. And I'll just I'll play with the setting on this so you can hear the difference. Yeah, so you hear that it changes a lot, and different artifacts are introduced. So for me, I find usually negative 6.5 is the sweet spot. I don't really know why, but it just tends to sound good in this kind of beat to my ears. But yeah, and then I turn the output down 1 decibel just so I don't get any additional digital clipping. And yeah, that's pretty much the beat. I guess I'll play the whole thing now, and yeah, thanks so much for watching. I hope this was helpful. I hope you learned something. And yeah, like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments what you want to see next, or if anything didn't make sense in my tutorial that you want me to clear up. But yeah, that's pretty much what I got. So let's play the beat.
Okay, so if you don't cam or if you don't agree with me, I don't